Welcome to this class. Till now, from previous video, we have studied about block diagram of computer, that is the components of computer system. Then after we have talked about types of softwares. We have talked about we have talked about the difference between hardware and software, and then after we have got some deeper insight about types of softwares. Then after we were talking about, in last video, we were talking about types of computer languages. We have talked about, say, higher level language, assembly level language and machine level language, and we were talking about the advantages and disadvantages of these languages. If you have gone through the introductory part of this course, you must know that now in this lecture we are going to talk about compiler, interpreter, assembler, linker, loader, etc. The kind of system softwares. But I'm going to skip or say delaying these topics until we execute at least one C program. Because for you, this topic will be easy to understand only if you have executing at least one C program. So these topics I'm going to cover when I'm going to execute a C program in second chapter. So I'm just delaying this topic until second chapter. So what we are going to study in this lecture? We are going to study about, algorithm and flowchart. See, basically from the initial video of this chapter, I have already told you that this chapter is having weightage of 11 marks, or say 11%. So from this chapter, mostly the theoretical questions can be asked, which we have already covered in our previous lectures. But algorithm and flowchart is very much important, because algorithm and flowchart is not only limited to this chapter. In this chapter, we are going to study about the definition, say the terms. In this chapter, we are just going to introduce ourselves with the terms. But to write an algorithm or to draw a flowchart can be done for any time program that you are going to study in this entire course. So questions can be asked from any time program. So you must be prepared yourself to write an algorithm or draw a flowchart for any given program. Now, in this lecture, as you can see the topics over here, what we are going to study? We are going to study what an algorithm is. We are going to study about the properties of algorithm. Then after we are going to study about what is flowchart, merits and demerits of flowcharts, and then after we are going to talk about the algorithm and flowchart in coding. So in this lecture, I'm just going to explain that how you can write an algorithm for a program, or what is the flowchart and how you can draw a flowchart for any program. But then just keep this in mind that for any program you must be able to draw a flowchart, because questions can be asked for any program. So shall we begin this class? Let's go. So as you can see the definition of algorithm over here, you can see the step-by-step definition of algorithm. But if I explain you what an algorithm is, then algorithm can be defined as a step-by-step implementable instructions to achieve some particular task. See, if I give you just random example from our day-to-day life, then what if I ask you how to make a Maggi noodles? See, to make a Maggi, you will say that you can take a vessel, pour a water inside that, boil the water and put some masala over here and put the raw Maggi. And after 2 minutes, the Maggi will be ready. So it will be the end of process. Basically, the Maggi will not be ready in within 2 minutes. We all know that. But what I want to convey is, if you are going to perform some particular task, then what are some step-by-step execution, some short and sweet instructions that we call algorithm. So you can see definition over here, but you understand, right, what an algorithm is? Algorithm is the step-by-step implementation. Now, if I give you an example, you know how the algorithm look like, then you can see the example over here. This example shows that how I can add two numbers. So basically, we are going to perform a program in which we are going to take two numbers from users, then we are going to add them and we will print the result on the screen, on your computer screen. So, how can I write an algorithm for that program? So basically, the first rule is you have to start an algorithm and then you have to end an algorithm. So the first and last part will always be start and end, right? This is the common for all algorithm. In between, whatever we are writing will depend on the logic, that what exactly the program we are going to execute. Make sure that even if you are writing an algorithm, you don't need to know the code or syntax part. You must know the logic. The only logic is required for writing an algorithm. For this example, how you can write an algorithm? So first of all, after starting, you need to take two values from user. So user is going to enter two values, say 2 or 4. Then after, the third step is to add this two number in C, say variable C. So you are adding whatever we have got values in A and B, inside A and B, you are going to store the addition of both of them into C. And then simply you are going to print or say display C on the monitor. So you can write an algorithm for this program as you can see on the screen. And then at last, as I have already told you, you have to write stop or say end, right? Let me give you another example. So what if you want to write an algorithm for the program in which I am checking whether the entered number is even or not. Now just think how you can say the number is even or odd. If the number is divisible by 2, then it is called even, or otherwise it will call odd number. So what if I want to check whether the whatever number entered by user is even or not? I'll just divide it by 2 and I'll check whether the remainder is 0 or not. If the remainder is 0, that means the number can be divisible by 2. Otherwise, my number cannot be divisible by 2. That means even or odd. Now, for remainder, we have kind of operator, say whatever, you have operators like plus, minus, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Same way, if I want to find the remainder as a result, I have an operator modulo. And you must know about the modulo in, like, say, probability or statistics part of your career. But types of operator we are going to study in the second chapter, that is fundamentals of C programming. But right now you just understand that modulo function, modulo operator is used to check whether the remainder is 2 or not, 0 or not, sorry. So as you can see, first we have to write start. Then we are going to take a value from user to check whether it is even or not. So we are going to, in second step, we are going to take value from user. Then after, I am checking a condition if A or whatever value inside A is divisible by 2 or not. If the answer is 0, then I am going to print, say, even. Else, I am going to print odd and then end. So we are going to study about conditional statements as well, but right now just understand how you can write an algorithm, and make sure that while writing an algorithm, you are not writing some lengthy part. You are not going to write a story or essay. So make your algorithms short and sweet, very to the point. Algorithm should be to the point. Now, what are the properties of algorithm? You can see the properties over here, right? You can see the properties. Algorithm, how algorithm is beneficial? By writing an algorithm, I can know the flow of entire program. I do not need to know the syntax of any damn code for writing an algorithm. Yeah, but what you need to know is what will be the logic of this program. Logic is important, but coding is not for writing an algorithm. And as the coding part is not there, we can ignore the syntax. So for writing an algorithm, it will be like say independent of any programming language. So whatever algorithm you have written will be same for any programming language, whether you are using Python, Java, C++, C# or C. Algorithm will be same. So because the concept is same, but the coding part may differ in our program execution. So say algorithm is easy to it is language independent. It makes our program very effective, and it is very well defined. It defined our program in well manner. So this is all about algorithm. Now what is flowchart? See, you can see the definition over here. Flowchart is nothing but the graphical representation of an algorithm. So you are going to use different symbols to display some different logics for your program. Algorithm and flowcharts are connected. So if you want to learn flowchart, how to draw a flowchart, you must know the algorithm. Similar way, if you are able to write an algorithm, you can easily draw the flowchart from them. So both are interconnected. Flowchart, there are different symbols available to draw flowchart, and in this lecture we are going to study about each of the symbols. But before going to the types of symbols and which symbols is used for which purpose, we are going to talk about the merits and demerits of flowchart. So the merits are, as you can see, listed over here. By using flowchart, you are making your program more clear. By writing a flowchart, by drawing a flowchart, we will have some clear insight about our program. We can easily remove the bugs by just having a glance at my flowchart. So in short, flowchart makes our program more easy, just because if I'm telling you one apple, when I'm saying an apple, in your mind, image of apple is created. So this is the human tendency that if you are seeing some picture, then it will be having more effect on your brain than just saying the words. So more than algorithm, flowchart is effective just because of its graphical representation. And you can easily see the merit over here, right? Now what about the demerits? As you can see the demerit over here, by using the flowchart, sometimes your job will be more monotonous. Sometimes it may happen that for some program you can easily draw a flowchart, but writing a code is difficult. So translation of code from flowchart to some syntax is sometimes difficult. And as we have seen in merits, that algorithm can be used as documentation. See, whenever you are downloading any software, you must go through the documentation that how you can use that software and how you can install, what are the facilities provided by software. We have already seen that point in our merits, right? So in demerits, I can say that this documentation may take some may occupy more space, right? So these are some demerits of flowchart. And now we are going to see that what are the symbols used for drawing a flowchart. So as you can see the first symbol over here, first symbol is of start and end. So same way in algorithm, in flowchart also you are going to start a flowchart and you are going to end a flowchart by writing a oval, right? Now then after, basically the intention of oval is to write a start or end program. Then after, as you can see the second symbol is all about say input and output. So I have already told you about the example of adding two numbers and displaying. In that program, first you are going to take two input from users. You are going to you are going to tell user that you have to enter two numbers, say A and B. And then you are going to add them and then you are going to print it. So two actions are happening over here. First is you are asking for a number and then you are displaying. So input output can be represented by this rhombus symbol. Parallelogram is used for that. Now the third symbol is say rectangle, which is used for processing. Processing, that means logic. So in previous example, C is equal to, we have written C is equal to A plus B. So this is called processing. Any expressions, assignments, this all are represented using rectangle. So basically processing is used using rectangle. Then after you can see the diamond over here. Diamond is basically used when we are using condition, if else condition. We are not writing else over diamond, we are just writing if, and I'll show you that what will be the else part, how you can represent the else part. But for conditional statement, you have to write diamond, you have to draw diamond, and inside the diamond you have to write a condition. And then you are telling that whether the condition is true or false, and according to that you have to take some actions. I'm going to explain a flowchart for that, so don't worry about that if you don't understand. Then after, as you can see the arrow over here. Arrow is basically used to see to show that how the flow of this control is going. And then after you can see the connector over here. So sometimes while writing or say while drawing a flowchart, it may happen that half of the flowchart is in one page and half of the flowchart is in other page. So at that time you must write a connector at the end of one page and at the starting of another page to show that this is the continuous flowchart. So for that purpose, circle is used as a connector. And at last you can see the comment over the symbol for comment over here. This is used to show the comment. Now what exactly the comment is and how it is implementable in our programs, that I am going to show you when we are going to execute any program. Now we are going to see that how we can draw a flow chart for the previous two programs. As our previous example was to add two number and display the output. So as the convention, first we have to write start and then at the end we have to write end. So for that I am writing OL. First I'll start with start, right? Start. Then I am going to take two numbers from user, A and B. So I am asking enter two numbers A and B. Then I am going to process. I am adding two numbers and storing its value to C. So for that processing I am writing a rectangle, and inside that I am writing C is equal to A plus B. This C I am going to display on my computer screen, that I am going to print. So for that you have to write you have to draw input output symbol, that is parallelogram. And inside that you have to write say display C or say print C. You can write anything of your choice, but make sure that it is shorter. Don't write paragraphs and lines inside your flowchart. And at last my program ends, so I am writing end in the oval. This is how I can draw a flowchart for the program adding two numbers. Another program we have talked about was to check whether the given number is even or not. So for that, you have to take only one value from user. So how I can draw a flowchart? First of all, I will start with oval start. Then after I am going to take one value from user, so I am just writing enter value of A or enter A, or you can write any of your choice. You can write anything, any shorter thing. Now once A is entered, I am going to divide A with 2. Divide by 2. Right? Then I am going to check whether this divide. So divide by 2 was an operation, an expression. So for that I am writing it inside the rectangle. And whatever the input we have talked about was input from user. So for that I have drawn the parallelogram. Then the condition is that whether the remainder is 0 or not. So for condition I am writing or I am drawing a diamond, and inside the diamond I am writing if say A modulo 2 equal to 0 or not. Now how what you have written this, why you have written equal to and so on, that we are going to study in our next lecture. So say next chapter. So don't worry about that, but you have to write the condition, and you will gradually habituated with the conditions once you write a program. So don't worry about that. Then after, according to condition, I may have two results, whether the condition is true or the condition is false. If the condition is true, that means my number can be divisible by 2 because it is having the remainder 0. So you can see it is having, say, it is printing the number is even. If not, then it is printing number is odd. So at a moment, only one will be printed, whether it is even or odd. Whatever is printed, then after I am going to end the program, so I have written end in over. This is how you can draw a flowchart for any program. Flowchart for looping is a little difficult and mostly asked in exams. So you must know about that. These are the very basic terms, and right now I am not going to give you more examples. I'll give the examples of flowcharts. One, we are executing the programs. So I'm going to give you this accordingly. Our topics are being covered. So this is all about algorithms and flowcharts. If you have any doubt, as usual, I'm telling you to comment below the comment section. I'll just make sure that I clear your doubt. Meanwhile, in this course, I'm going to provide you so many examples of flowcharts and algorithms. So don't worry about that. Just practice. And make sure that you stay tuned with the lectures. Don't break the sequence of these lectures. I hope you enjoyed the class. See you in the next lecture. Thank you so much.